Juan Schneider, and I'm the director of the library there and work with Cheryl all the time. And so what she was talking about upcoming, all this work in here is called The Circus, done by Steve Arment, who's a local artist. A lot of it's sold in 5 days, but he'll make new stuff. So on Thursday, he's going to do a brown bag to talk about the work. And then this weekend, he's doing a wood carving workshop, and Cheryl said there's one spot left, and there's information over there on it. Okay? I'm going to get out of the way very quickly. Mark and Julie Eubanks invited me to dinner last night with Yaki Bergman and his wife, Joan. And Mark has been talking about this for some time because an old professor of his at the University of Washington composed a piece that was commissioned by Yaki. That's all I'm going to say and leave them fill in all the details. But Yaki is the conductor, the music director of the Walla Walla Symphony, Portland Chamber Orchestra, and the Siletz Bay Festival. Did I get that right?
Music festival.
No, Siletz Bay Music Festival. Doggone it. Anyway, and one of the tidbits I picked up last night is that he studied with V. Leonard Bernstein.
Oh.
Okay? So I think, so he's been around the musical horn for a long time, as has our friend Mark. And if you haven't met him, he and Julie actually live here. And I'll tell you a secret, it was Julie that got him here because she has old family roots in Wallowa County. Now, we always say that the world is a small place, and Wallowa County is the name. Anyway, Yaki Bergman.
You can just go ahead, I don't need this.
You don't need to introduce him?
Yeah. But yes, I will. No, this is a remarkable man who actually saved me from selling all my musical instruments and getting away from music performance. I was in major symphony orchestras for 40 years, Seattle Symphony, Seattle Opera, Oregon Symphony, and at the end I was kind of burned out and thought, I don't need to do this anymore. I listened to country western music for 2 years, took up the cello, and then I was offered to play with the Portland Chamber Orchestra with Yaki Bergman. And what a joy it was to get back to music again after a couple of years of not playing my instrument, which is the bassoon. And now I also play as co-principal bassoon with the Walla Walla Symphony. I see and hear all of his creativity. And if there's one place where creativity is focused, it's right here in Joseph. And now he's getting that feeling about what's the vibe that we have here that's so strong with our artists and our musicians. So I would like to introduce my friend, Maestro, Yaki Bergman from Israel, who grew up in a kibbutz and served in the Israeli army.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Julie, for the hospitality and what a wonderful experience. Join my wife, Joan Bergman, sitting there, experiencing in Joseph, and this is really a remarkable experience for us. I mean, we both coming from a very hectic year of hard work, busy, and a lot of things to take care of, and that's the very first relief and little vacation that we're experiencing. And what could be where could be better than Joseph? I mean, just watching this whole area here, the mountains and everything, it just psyche you, it's hypnotize you. You wake up in the morning and look at the mountain and, oh, this is not real. You know, and there's a sense of holiness and spiritual experience that just come together with everything else. And thank you, Mark, thank you, Julie, and thank you for inviting me to talk about this very important mission of commissioning a piece based on Chief Joseph's speech. it all started, first of all, maybe I should just share with you a few words about myself. I born in Israel, first generation Israeli. I grew up in a country that was no country at the time, and experienced and grew up in a kibbutz. And what could be considered as the ultimate realization of socialism, communism, and whatever it is, because at the time it was the one way to create something from nothing. And it's kind of like a group of people coming together and trying to create a whole new civilization. And it was a wonderful experience. And but I think the one of the most important things that it really seeded in me as an individual is the value of community, the value of understanding the needs to be part of something. And it really carried on through all my career, through all my upbringing. Being responsible to my community, being part of the community, sharing the responsibilities and taking charge of things. And as an artist in the community, I eventually kind of played many instruments, and I became like the Haydn Esterhazy. In other words, I had to write all the music, arrange all the music for the holidays, and basically be the coordinator of each holiday that took place, musical portion, and eventually it led to, after the serving in the army, it led to the serious decisions about becoming a musician, serious musician, professional musician, or not. Then it took a while, and I was in a deep dilemma about it, and in the meantime I dealt with beekeeping and farming and things that really were very, very close to my heart. Honest to God, I love the plowing, love fields and all that comes with that, and the smell of the hay here just driving me nuts. It really take me home. And then I came to America after graduating from the Rubin Academy in Jerusalem, Hebrew University, and I studied in New York, and that's where my wife and I met each other at the Humanis College of Music. And as I was studying in New York, I started conducting this training orchestra at the 92nd Street Y in Manhattan, which many of you probably are familiar with, this very, very special institution. And I taught my musicians at the time, some of them were professionals, union registered musicians. If you hear about small town America that's looking for a music director, I want to be the one. Because I wanted to learn about this amazing country. I wanted to really get to know, what it's all about, America. Not necessarily just musically, but socially and everything. During one night, midnight, I'm getting a call from my principal cellist, and she says to me, Yaki, Walla Walla is looking for a music director. And I said to her, wow, what is Walla Walla? And to make a long story short, I went through the process, and thanks to my wife, Joan, which encouraged me a great deal through the whole process, I won the position, which was 33 years ago.
Wow.
And the reason I'm mentioning it so with such a sense of pride is, again, it takes you back to the community values. It takes you back to the wonderful love affair that I developed over the years with the Walla Walla community. And of course, the orchestra was the center, the music was the main thing. But it was the way the community embraced me, the surrounding of Walla Walla, the agricultural environment. I even managed to be a messenger of high-quality asparagus to New York, one of the New York finest restaurants. John, what was the name?
Lutes.
Lutes. One of the farmers invited me to carry a box of finest Walla Walla asparagus to New York. Because in New York, they realized that there's something like fresh asparagus from Walla Walla, which is absolutely unique. And for that, we got a freebie at the restaurant, a freebie, which was one of the finest in New York at the time. But anyway, continued the journey, the opportunity to be the music director of the Walla Walla Symphony kind of give you a sense of, okay, I'm the artistic director of not just the symphony, but artistic director of the whole community. Because the Symphony of Walla Walla is one of a kind, is the one show in town. Tremendous history. The Walla Walla Symphony started in 1907. It's the oldest symphony west of the Mississippi. And existed during times where there was a lot of social and economic activities in town and in the region. And when the centennial of the state of Washington came about, I, as the music director, thought that there's no better way to celebrate this special event other than maybe commission a new composition, new piece, which really will bring the cultural legacy of the local people. And researching the subject, we came to the conclusion that actually there's so much Native American history, Nez Perce, in the area. There's so much wonderful material to really commemorate and bring to the front. And I was very lucky to correspond with the composer that I already respect a great deal. I happened to conduct some music with him before, John Verrall. John Verrall was, for many, many, many years, he was the composition professor at Washington University. Happened to be also the professor of this wonderful man. Mark, yeah. Do you want to say a word about it?
He was very small man, but when he walked into a room, the whole room, it was huge. He was a huge man with a small stature, and very funny, and very prolific in terms of creating things. I premiered a piece of his when I was in college, and I have music. I'm very proud that I have that score. That I don't know what else to say.
And based on the previous composition that also had a touch of Native American flavor based on ideas by Indian culture, it's called the Radiant Bridge, which I conducted in Walla Walla on my first season, actually, as a music director. After the board of directors of the Symphony authorized a nice amount of money to commission the Chief Joseph, the legend of Chief Joseph, I obviously approached him, and from there on it was just one wonderful journey up to the premiere of the piece. We both kind of went through research, we both checked, deep into the surrendering speech of Chief Joseph, and John came with wonderful ideas that has to do a great deal with peace and war, education, environment, children education, and the composition, the orchestration of the piece was basically included in a large orchestra, youth choir, children choir, and mixed choir, adult choir, and a baritone solo, which sang the text by Chief Joseph. Yeah. The premiere was a huge success, big success. We even had some representation from the Nez Perce population in the area that was quite elated about the opportunity to really be recognized through music. John Verrall himself attended the concert, spoke about the piece, and it was a really, probably, I will not exaggerate by saying that it was probably one of the most valuable, most exciting, most moving experience that I, as a musician, went through in my entire career. There was a sense of deep relevance of doing this piece and presenting it in the community that it's so connected to. Yeah. And obviously, as we grow up and we look at around us and we sense that life is passing, but we have to keep a sense of values and understanding what's really important. And especially in today's reality where there's so much division and so much tension, social tension. A piece like this really reminds you what's important. Yeah, and Chief Joseph not only was a very powerful piece of music, but the message and the inclusiveness, the inclusion, the camaraderie, and the harmony that it brought as a result of being presented was very satisfactory, it was very moving, and for me, very important as an artist in the community. And as a matter of fact, I repeated the piece, conducted the piece in addition to the premiere in Walla Walla, which included, by the way, the Seattle Youth Choir, and the Walla Walla Choral Society, Symphony, and a wonderful baritone. Was repeated in Carnegie Hall a few years later, and then 2 years ago I did it again in Portland, side by side with the Beethoven Ninth Symphony, the Choral Symphony, under the umbrella of Brotherhood and Harmony, in Brotherhood and Harmony. Then you can see that music has a real power. Music really has the ability to portray ideas and messages that at a certain time, that are so relevant, that are so important, that are so needed. Yeah. And it wasn't really by accident, it came to me very natural to position both pieces together. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for you to invite me to mention it, because I think this piece is important. And I hope it will be performed again and again. As a matter of fact, the publisher, when I did it 2 years ago in Portland, they published a new edition, especially in honor of the topic or the subject of harmony, in harmony and brotherhood, because they felt that this piece deserved as many runs as possible. Then basically the piece has 5 movements. One is a prelude that basically set the background in the overall ambience of the piece. Actually, it starts with element that kind of sound like bird call and gets us into the prairies, the feeling of the prairie, the feeling of the overall, the spiritual world of what Chief Josephy is all about. I know it because I spoke with John Verrall, and he was kind of taking me through each page and each motif. Not always it's very evocative, but I know kind of what he meant by writing certain sections of it. The other one is the ceremonial march, just kind of getting us into more social environment and cheerful kind of mood. The other one, and then the next one, the third one, is the Chief Joseph speech. It's a major aria for the baritone solo where we finally hear selections from the speech itself. And then we have a sense of a fourth movement, which is meditation. Very mood that basically anticipate the big finale, which is done by the youth choir, mixed choir, and orchestra, and ending with a big function or big statement by Chief Joseph itself.
Maestro, I have a question.
Yeah.
How long is this work?
It's around, I would say, 28 minutes. We're not going to play everything. What I would like to do is to really give you a taste. We are coming.
Let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, we're coming into a kind of a taste of the music, and there are also some subtitles of the text that will be sung. What I would like to do, I would like to start with a slide projection. 2 pages, the first 2 pages are basically the program notes by the composer himself. And I thought that nobody can say better than me, obviously. Then just,
Quick question, Yaki.
yes, please.
Where did he teach? You said Washington University in Seattle, the University of Washington?
Yeah, in Seattle, yeah.
Washington U is in St. Louis.
University of Washington.
Yeah.
Not-
University.
Not to be confused with Washington State University or.
Well, Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Then just let me know, give me a note when you finish. And then we'll go to the second. And then we'll go to the second. Okay. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Did we read? Now I would like to give you some taste, the taste of the music, of the composition. This is a live performance done at the Lewis and Clark College in Portland. the Portland Chamber Orchestra and some choirs. And what I would like is just the opening of the first movement. The prelude, which really takes us right away into this pastoral spirit, feeling, kind of setting the backdrop of what all is to evolve. Just going to take a little, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then we'll move to the third movement, which is the speech. The next movement is a ceremonial march which we'll skip. But the next movement is the Chief Joseph speech. Richard Zeller, very famous metropolitan opera baritone, lived in Portland, right now in California, one of my dearest friends, and he, nobody could embody the image of Chief Joseph better than he, in terms of size, in terms of size of voice, in terms of expressivity, and in terms of the emotional impact that this role made. Yeah, and he did a marvelous job, a magnificent job. He was so excited that he almost got lost. He was so taken by the spirit and by he said to me, it's a privilege for me to sing it. This is a very important piece for me. And he did a beautiful job. And just to let you know, the text basically is not the exact words of Chief Joseph. It's the take by John Verrall himself, based on the surrendering speech. But it's definitely very evocative, very close to what the spirit of the meaning of the words that Chief Joseph himself spoke. Then, number 3. Yeah. Can we present the text and the music?
Oh, I think we can do both.
Oh, no?
The text is in your laptop?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have an either-or situation.
Oh, okay.
I can run it after you do the sequence.
Yeah, we can play a little of this, and I can listen to the text like that.
Thank you.
especially the text that evoke the main spirit or the main message of the surrendering speech, obviously, and for the very heartbroken reality that Chief Joseph faced during this time. And then we're coming into the final movement, which is basically a recitation of words that evoke the future, the youngster, the young people, the youth, the peace and war, and things that are slightly more optimist. Obviously, we didn't really realize what's coming up, or Chief Joseph didn't realize the tragic ending of all of this hopeful kind of message that he was trying to send in this surrounding spirit, because bad things happen after that, unfortunately. Yeah, but the text that the youth choir is singing is very, very optimistic kind of meaning and messages, and that makes this, and which makes this piece so important in the context of every reality that we are living through, especially today. Yeah, and I hope that this. Okay, we cannot do it. With music.
I'm going through the. Okay.
Yeah, that's the aria that you just had. Yeah.
I would venture that most people in this room have a speech by heart.
Okay.
What, Bob?
Oh, I just think most of the folks here are very familiar with what Joseph said that day.
Well,
This is great. This is real good.
we have a copy, and I think we'll have more copies. The speech that Joseph gave in New York City, or in Washington, D.C. in 1879, which is the same tenor, the same flavor, but longer.
Yes.
It was a longer speech. And we give away copies of it. And what you said about your baritone, Yaki, happens time and again. People stand there and read the speech and fall into tears. Should I go to the next slide?
Yes. Now you can start.
I'm switching in.
Okay, you know what? You might actually like to play the text before the music.
Go first.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Text of
Okay.
first.
So this is the last movement.
That's the last
this
movement, the call finale, where the
Right.
children coming in, the choir, the big choir comes in, and eventually the Chief Joseph sum the whole thing. And we'll fight no more forever. That's where the children comes into the picture. It's Chief Joseph.
So John wrote, he wrote all the words as well as the.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a paraphrasing of Chief Joseph.
Is that common, or oftentimes the libretto and the music are written by different
It's
people?
very common.
Is
Yeah,
it?
that's exactly what you call it, libretto. Yeah, and it's for the sake of the artistic continuity of linking text to each other, or moving from one topic to the next, or bringing elements that are multi-layers. Yeah, you're dealing with generational element, yeah, between youth, adults, and the baritone and the leader, yeah. That all of that is kind of weaving each other together, you know, and that's what John did so really successfully. He managed to bring the element of Joseph's tragic outlook into the optimism of the youth, into nature, environment, peace, education, into this amazing finale. Yeah. That's why it's so important for you to read the text, because obviously you know that most of you probably know the elect in the speech, but I think that the music really try to evoke as much as possible of the spirit of the speech. I'm very glad at least we had the chance to read the text before the music. Now comes the music. Yeah.
Let me see how I get this going here.
Fine.
Soon be at home. Some of you were good to
it was a more fuller, obviously, sound during the performance, but just so people kind of taste of the whole thing. This piece was performed in Walla Walla, in Portland, and in Carnegie Hall. And I hope to be able to present it again, especially in today's reality, very relevant to what's going on, to ideals that we need to strive for and live through. Then thank you for listening, and thank you for, if you have any questions, I would definitely love to answer.
Do we have time?
Yeah, we've got time for questions, sure. Go for it.
I have a question. I consider you and Joan to be a power couple. Would you tell us a little bit about Joan's life in music?
Oh, maybe I should invite Joan to the front. Joan?
What do you want to know?
Joan, coming? Yeah.
We've got a piano here,
I'm very
Yaki.
lucky to meet Joan when we were both students in New York at Mannes College of Music. Joan, okay, I better shut up.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Yaki and I met at Mannes College of Music, if that's unfamiliar to you. There are 3 conservatories of music in New York City, 3 of the biggest in the world. One is Juilliard, I'm sure you're all familiar with that. The other is Mannes, and the third one is the Manhattan School of Music. I'm a product of Juilliard and Mannes. And that's where we met, and it's been 38 years of marriage. And we've known each other for 43.
Yep.
And we're still talking. I am a pianist. I have also been in music administration. For a better part of a decade, I served as the director of the Mammoth College of Music Pre-College, and I taught on the college faculty. I taught piano and piano pedagogy. And then after a very brief hiatus when we lived in Colorado Springs, I was appointed executive director of one of the largest community music schools in the country, Hoff Barthelson Music School, with over 2,000 students, 95 faculty, and 23 very devoted administrative help. And together we ran the school, and I resigned from that position. Notice I didn't say retired. I'll tell you why in just a moment. I resigned from that position 2 years ago after 17 and a half years. It was a good run. We built a great school from a very fine school. Now it's great. And I'm teaching. I never stopped teaching. I taught while I was executive director. People used to ask me, how can you do that when you're running such a large and busy institution? And I used to say, it's the vacation in my day. Even if I taught for 1 hour a day in the evening or in the late afternoon, it was great. Teaching was my first love after performing. And I'm still teaching, which is why I say I'm not retired, I've resigned. And I continue to teach, and I hope to teach for a very, very long time. I not only taught piano through my life, I've coached chamber music groups, I've taught theory and ear training, and also the parallels of music and art. I have a background in art history. So I gave lecture courses at the Marymount School in New York City, courses of the parallels of music and late 19th century, 20th century art.
May I ask you a question?
Yes,
Would you be willing to come to Wallowa County and teach piano master classes?
absolutely. Love to do it. I've done it all over the world.
Okay.
And I don't even need a translator here.
We've got it on tape. Dan had a question here too.
I'm a woman of my word.
And what a teacher she is.
Thank you.
There was a question over here too.
I
Yes.
was just gonna ask Yaki if you had any plans to play that in Walla Soon?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
It was under consideration 2 years ago, again, paired with the Ninth Symphony, later. It's the kind of a piece that you want to plug in a specific reality or in a context or a program, particular program. Yeah. I will not waste this powerful message of this powerful piece and just another subscription concept. It has to be really connected to something very special, thematically or emotionally or musically, whatever. But yes, definitely, it's on my radar all the time. It's a piece that I'm so proud of. As a matter of fact, you know, when you commission a piece as a music director, you become like your baby, you know, and you want to nurture it, you want to keep it alive.
Where did the money come from?
The board of directors came with, I think it was around 15,000 at the time, and they found the money from all different resources. But they realized that the message and the mission of this whole idea, the purpose of this idea is powerful enough and important enough to really make it happen. And they were terrific. They were really, really great. I'm so thankful to them. And yes.
Can you want to talk a little bit about, you were mentioning the Bridge of the Gods and kind of a long-term project that you're working on? Can you say anything
I'm
about
trying
that?
to resurrect opera, the chamber orchestra, and based on the Bridge of the Gods, the story of this Light Falls, which the Portland Chamber Orchestra premiered in 1959. Unfortunately, the orchestral material got lost. All I have right now is the conducting score, with the full score, with a marking by the conductor that premiered it. And we're in the process of applying for special grants to resurrect the parts and maybe come together with the Portland Opera in collaboration to present it in 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And if this will happen, hopefully we'll be able to bring it to other places, maybe even here. It's a chamber opera, it's not a grand opera.
Okay.
But the message, the storyline is so rooted in the history of the region, you know, very powerful story. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.